Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So today is my video all about the Friday Pattern Company Sagebrush top, and I've done this in collaboration with Angela from Devon Threadtales. Now this is our third collaboration that we've done together, so please do check out our videos on our previous makes that we've done, and also please check out Angela's video once you've finished here, although she will be featured in this video a little bit later on so she can share her version with you. So the sagebrush top, I'll quickly show you the pattern envelope. As you can see here, it is quite an oversized kind of top with a lovely frill detail across the bust area and some big poofy sleeves. And then the line drawings on the back, you'll be able to see that there is a yoke and a tie detail at the back as well. So there are some really lovely details in this top. I have seen this bouncing around the sewing community for quite a while, so I am quite late sewing this kind of pattern up, but I absolutely love how it looks on everybody. It fits all sorts of different shapes and sizes. It's just a really nice flattering top, I would say. So the detail about the sagebrush then is that it says the sagebrush top is an elegant and easy to sew blouse that is a joy to make and wear. The sagebrush is designed for woven fabrics, loose without being baggy, the type of breezy fit you'll want to wear all summer. Generous puff sleeves and gathers across the front make it comfortable to move in. So I've obviously not sewn it in the summer as we are well into autumn now, leading up to our winter time, but do you know what, it's absolutely versatile all year round, I would say. I absolutely love how this top has turned out, and I'm so pleased with the fit of it as well. I really do like how the Friday Pattern Company size their patterns. They do it in sort of extra small, medium, large, that kind of thing, and they've got a really wide size range as well. So this particular pattern goes from an extra small all the way up to a 7X, so I think that is really generous, so they've done really well with that. So it gives you the bust, waist and hip measurements, obviously for your body measurement size, and also for the finished garment measurements. And I always go with the finished garment measurements on everything that I make. So I decided to go with a small up top, and I've graded out to a medium over my hip area. So for the bust, for a small, it's a 34 to 35 inch body measurement, a 26 to 27 inch waist measurement, and a 35 to 36 inch hip measurement. So the bust is pretty accurate for me, but the rest is a lot smaller than what I am. I'm about a 30 waist, 41 to 42 inch hip. So I went with the finished garment measurements. Now looking at the small for the finished garments at the full bust, it's a 42 inch. So that you can see there is a lot of ease in the pattern there. And then for the waist and the hips, it's exactly the same. So I just went up to the 44 inch for the waist and hips because it was 42 inch for the small. So I went up to the medium. So I think I basically just freehand drew on my pattern literally where I thought it should grade from, and I just winged it. You know, I don't ever use any sort of measurements or scientific calculation or anything like that, and I just managed to get the fit just right, so I'm really pleased. So everything up top is the small, including the sleeves, and then literally from about the waist down to the hips is the medium, and it just fits me perfectly. I didn't want it too big across the top because I didn't want it to sort of drown my figure really and make me look bigger than I am. So I'm really happy with how the fit has turned out. So I've used this lovely crepe fabric that I bought from Andrea Beyond the Pink Door. She won't have this anymore because I did actually have it at Christmas time last year, so it's nearly a year old, so I very much doubt that she'll have this in stock anymore, but she does stock beautiful fabrics, so do check out her website. So it's got this lovely frill detail across the top here, these big poofy sleeves, and with this particular crepe fabric, I don't think it holds like the poof too much. It just has quite a nice amount of drape on it, which I'm really pleased with. And then it is just finished with some elastic at the bottom of the hem there. Now the elastic that you're supposed to use, I think, is 1/2 centimetre. But mine is slightly bigger, so mine is just over 1 centimetre wide, I believe. So it doesn't matter because there was just enough room in the casing for me to fit that in, and I actually prefer a slightly wider elastic because it tends to behave itself a little bit more, so it doesn't twist or turn. It's really very comfortable, so if I come in you'll see, you know, it's not too tight. I've just done it so it literally fits around my arm just to hold it in place really, so it's not really tight and it's not too loose either. And I love how the drape is on the poofy sleeves. So I haven't changed anything with the sleeves. I kept them at the size they are, and I'm really happy with that. And I think if I'd have gone for maybe a more structured fabric, it would be a lot bigger and stuff, so I really am happy with that. It's got a lovely neckline which is finished with bias binding, which you do make yourself with the fabric that you're using. And what I will say is, although the top itself doesn't take a lot of fabric, by making the bias binding yourself you do tend to waste quite a bit of fabric because you're obviously cutting it on the bias. So I did find that I think I had 1.5 meters of fabric and I only just managed to squeeze it out because the bias binding obviously going over the bias of the fabric. I had sort of quite a lot left on either side of that, but not really enough to make another garment. So that was a little bit wasteful, although you could use your own sort of bias binding, shop bought or made from other fabric if you didn't want to, you know, use the fabric that you're using for the outer. So you could have a contrast if you wanted, depending on what you're using really. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with this. The fit across the bust is just perfect, and I'll pan you down so you can see the length on me. So it just falls sort of to mid-hip, I would say. And I love how I've managed to get this pattern down the centre there. That was just pure fluke. I didn't sort of do that by purpose. Now, the hem is usually quite a deep hem. And although I have made quite a deep hem on it, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. If I turn it up, I'll show you with my fingers. That's basically the hem. So I would say probably about 1.5 inches, maybe 2 inches there of hem, and I think you're supposed to do double that amount, but when I folded it up I was quite happy with where it was sitting. Now you can tuck this top in, it is still long enough to tuck into high-waisted trousers, and I have got some black jeggings on at the moment, so I'll show you what it would look like if I did tuck it in. So it would look like that, and I'm quite happy with how that looks as well, although I think because these aren't that high-waisted, they're here and my natural waist is here, I do think it would probably come out if I was moving around. So I've just left it out as standard length really, as I've hemmed it. And I really, really like that. So yeah, and then at the back here, so if I pan you back up again, you can see it's got the lovely tie detail there. Really, really like that. And I love the yoke as well. Now, the gathering of this was quite tricky for me because of the type of fabric that I used. And in the instructions, it tells you to use a narrower sort of stitch length than what you would usually do for gathering, and I just went ahead and did that, but it was too short. I should have just gone for the full 5, I think it is, millimeters. That is the highest width on my machine to do that with. So I did struggle to gather this, and it did take me quite a long time, and then Angela was sort of going on ahead of me and I was still there gathering this, and I think I have gathered it one side more than the other, but you can't really tell because the fabric is really, really busy. So yeah, overall I'm so happy with this top, and I'm so glad I finally got around to making it. I'm definitely going to be making some more, and I will try it in different fabrics and things, but yeah, it's just such a versatile top. I just find that you can wear it with jeans, trousers, skirts, you know, you could even hack it into a dress. It's a really, really nice pattern. And what I will say is I was actually pleasantly surprised at how quick it was to sew. So especially because the volume with the sleeves, also you need to gather that into the armhole, and that went in so well. You just do the standard 2 rows of gathering for that, and it just went in really nicely. I've got no puckers whatsoever, and it just yeah, it was really easy to put in. I was really quite surprised. And I think we had about 3 sewing sessions, myself and Angela, on our Zoom that we usually do. And, you know, we are talking and chatting about this and that. You know, we'd near enough done it over 2 sessions, and we you know, we're only on there for a couple of hours or 3 hours at a time, really. But obviously sewing time is a lot less than that because we're chatting. So yeah, so this is my version of my top. I hope you like it, and I'll now hand you over on to Angela so she can share her version with you.
Hiya Karen, hi everybody, thanks so much for having me on your channel today. So I'm here to show you my version of the Sagebrush top, the Friday Pattern Sagebrush top. So mine is very different to Karen's in that obviously Karen's has made one which is very patterned and mine is incredibly plain. I've actually done mine in a Swiss dot, which is a very fine sort of cotton with this little dot of almost embroidery in it, and it's just nice and lightweight, so it's lighter weight than a cotton, slightly more fluid but not as fluid and drapey as say a viscose fabric, which is obviously what Karen's done has in, or she's done hers in a crepe, but you know, very soft and very drapey. So mine's just slightly more rigid than that. So I've had my eye on this pattern for quite some time and I really liked the look of it, but I'm a little bit funny about puff sleeves, gathers, that kind of thing. So I was a little bit like, oh, I don't know if it's my thing or not. But one day, I don't know why, but one day I just suddenly thought, oh, I'm just going to get the pattern. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to get it. And I did, and I'm so pleased that I did. And I'm so pleased that I've sewn it alongside with Karen, because first of all, it is a really lovely pattern to sew. And I think probably Karen will be saying the same thing. It's very straightforward. The instructions were absolutely fantastic in the instruction booklet, and the pattern just goes together really well. It's been drafted really nicely, so all of the the notches and things like that, they go together well, and yeah, it's just nice and easy. Now, probably the most complicated part of this garment is sewing the neckline with the bias binding. Now, I was quite glad that I was sewing this with Karen, because I've not actually managed bias binding before, or sewn with bias binding before, so I wasn't quite sure what it was going to be like, and it was nice to do that with Karen. Now, I do feel a little bit like my top. If you can see, there's some little sort of pull lines here. Now, I don't know whether or not I've got that too tight at the back or what have you, but I went for the size medium, and I don't know whether or not it's the size that I've done or whether or not the binding that I've done has just made that gather a little bit. Karen's might well be the same, it might not, but because her fabric is very patterned, you won't be able to see it. But I don't think it's too much of an issue. I think when we make our own clothes, we are way more critical about garments than if we just went into a shop and bought one. So the problem, or the thing that I was worried about with the puff sleeves, I sort of remedied that by actually taking out a little bit of the fullness of the sleeve. And all I did to do that was I took the sleeve pattern piece and I took out 2 inches right from the centre, and then put those bits together from that 2 inch that I took out. I just put them together, and I got that idea from, I think it was Kath from Kath Craft. She had actually shown that she had done the same top and taken out lots of the fullness by doing the same thing. So I messaged her and she very kindly told me how she did that, and I'm really glad that I did, because for me this still feels like this is quite a puffy sleeve, but I think it would have felt massive if I had done them the original size. I don't think I would take out any more fullness if I did it again, because I think that's kind of right. I love this little ruffle across the top, and I think that was what drew me to the pattern in the first place. Now, in the pattern, the instructions tell you to gather this, but you're gathering it with a much smaller stitch than what you would normally. So normally I would put my machine on the largest stitch length I had, which I think might be a 6, and I think this tells you to do it on either a 3.5 or a 4 or something like that, and it just made it quite difficult to gather. So I think I actually ended up going with a bigger length. I think I took it out and re-stitched it with a longer stitch length just to make it a bit easier, and it did make that a lot easier, and I'm really pleased with how that came out. It's got a lovely little peephole at the back, so it's got a yoke at the back, and then the bias binding continues all the way round so that you can tie it at the back. Now, the hem on this is quite deep. It's a 2-inch hem that you turn up twice. So essentially you're taking 4 inches or 2 inches off of the bottom length. So if I stand back, I've got it untucked at the moment, which is not how I would wear this, but this is how it looks. So it's a very straight garment. Now, I think that Karen made the size small and graded out to a size medium, and I made the size medium in its entirety. My measurements are a 36, 30 and 38, so it kind of felt like it was the right size, and I didn't need to sort of go either side of the pattern and grade between any sizes or anything like that. But I think that I would normally wear this tucked in, so I'm going to just tuck it in to show you what this would look like. And I think next time I make it, I possibly won't do quite as big a hem on it. I think I would just have it that little bit longer so that wearing it tucked in would be easier. because obviously if it's a little bit short, it might just pull out of the garment that you're wearing it with, like your trousers or skirt or something. So I've got this on with a skirt today. I've got it on with a Megan Nielsen Brumby skirt, but I think I would like to wear this with trousers. I think that'd be quite nice. I think that this is a top that I could wear with jeans, trousers, skirts. I think I could wear it under a pair of dungarees because it's nice high neck and it comes all the way up. I think that would work really, really well. So all in all, I'm really pleased with this. I'm so pleased that I've sewn it alongside with Karen. We've really enjoyed doing our collaborations, and I do hope that you pop over and see my video all about my sagebrush top and watch some of our other collaborations that we've done as well. So thanks again, Karen, for having me, and I'll speak to you again soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Angela's really, really lovely. I absolutely love the fabric that she's used, and I think with the white, it can go with anything basically, you know, any bottoms that she can pair it with, it would just go with so many things. It's a lot more versatile than mine is, and I just love how we always end up doing so different to each other. It's just really, really nice to I think it just really shows our taste, doesn't it, and things. But I absolutely love her version, and I think it looks beautiful on her, as I'm sure you will agree. Thank you very much for watching today. I do hope that you have felt inspired to go ahead and make your own sagebrush top. As I promise you, it's a really, really easy sew. Just take your time and you'll get through it absolutely fine. And it's just such a nice top to wear, really comfortable, just really flattering, and I think it will look nice for any occasion. So I shall see you again very soon. Take care. Bye.